I'm a fan of mixed martial arts, and when I watch a fighter on like a 10-fight winning streak, and you were in Vegas watching Conor McGregor beat Jose Aldo, so you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I always watch them when they have their first loss, and I see how are they going to come back. I saw Conor when he got choked out by Nate Diaz.
Yeah.
How does he come back? Because a lot of time that's hard. You took a big loss, $500,000 a few years into your trading career. What happened to you emotionally, and what happened next?
I mean, I drank a lot. It was splashed all over the newspapers. I mean, New York Post said like, party's over for hedge fund king. I was never a king. I had a few $1 million, but for the press, they wanted to make it big.
And before this, you had been flashing Lamborghinis and all the
Well,
stuff.
I wasn't flashing, but I was trying to show my hedge fund. Like my hedge fund was like top rated. I ended up losing like a third of my hedge fund, which in the grand scheme of things was the best thing that ever happened to me. But at the time, when you lose a third in 1 year, it's like you blow up. Right. And then to make matters worse, not only did I lose a third, and investors weren't like asking for their money back. Like I was still up over 4 years because of the previous 3 years, but I closed it down and I got into teaching. And so people are like, what? Like, what are you're leaving the hedge fund world, which is a very legitimate, big world, and you're getting into like this snake oil world of like teaching? Like, have you lost your mind? Have you lost all your money? Obviously, that's the only reason that you do this. But what I saw is that big loss taught me the rules that I now teach. So it was the best thing ever, because before that loss, I didn't have my risk management. I might have been winning a lot, but I was due for a big loss, right? Like I didn't know how to cut losses quickly. I didn't know the risks of illiquid stocks. It completed my education. And because of that, it made me a better teacher. It made me a better trader. And I got into teaching. Reuters had the headline, "Failed hedge fund manager tries again on the internet." And I talked to her for like 4 hours. I explained everything. I was like, no, this was an illiquid stock. I ignored my trading rules. I didn't know how important they were. And she's like, yeah, I get it. And I was like, she really gets it. Then she wrote this article and I was like, she didn't get it.
Welcome to the press.
But it was good because it really, knocked me down publicly. It crushed my ego, which was fantastic. Like, if you have a big ego, the market will humble you. And the market humbled me, the press humbled me, and it put me into this perfect position. I went back to $12,000, not because that was all the money I had left, but because I wanted to repeat my feat, right? And
back
right
to the
around
Bar Mitzvah money.
Right around that time, like when you fall down, like what do? You go back to your roots. So I still had like $400,000 to my name, but I was like, no, I'm gonna go back to 12,000, just trading with this. I didn't know if I would be successful. I was like, okay, now I know my rules a little better, let me do this. At the same time, there's a small startup called Covestor that had started, and they could basically verify your trades. So I uploaded my brokerage information to them, and they ranked all these traders, and I became the #1 ranked trader out of 60,000. I grew my 12,000 to roughly $250,000 over 2 years, and they tracked every trade to make sure that I was telling the truth, and I showed it in video lessons and blog posts. And again, like $250,000 over 2 years is not that big money, but when you start with just 12,000, it's very good.
Yeah, and the transparency, that's something brand new to the internet.
Yeah.
Like in the history of stock trading, there's never been transparency out there. So this is interesting, and that you chose to do it. I mean, for everybody to see every trade, it's like them seeing when you're naked, right?
100%. And that's the gift and the curse, because again, I was all kinds of messed up in the head after that loss. Like picture like winning every single time, thinking you're the best trader in the world, and then getting knocked down like big time. And then I was on a reality show while this was happening. So I was drunk in every episode, literally, but it was entertaining, which helped, like.
How long were you drinking for, and how did you get out of that?
I was drunk pretty much every day or every few days. It was like a good few months. But I got out of it because I wanted to prove myself. Like I got tired of feeling sorry for myself, and I was like, how do I get back on this? And the loss wasn't because of one of the rules that I had made a lot of money on. I had inadvertently broken my rules, which I didn't know. I didn't know like the importance of liquidity versus illiquidity, right? And so then I was like, oh my God, this is such a great lesson. So it was basically like market tuition. And if you can lose $500,000, I mean, it's an expensive lesson, but if you get taught that, and I did get taught that, and then the press, while it was bad, it reinforced that lesson. So I never forget that $500,000, right?
Yeah.
I've had some losses like after that, never 500, that never even close to that, because I always remember how bad that was. So I encourage people, like if you have that loss, like yeah, it sucks, but it's part of your education. You're an incomplete trader, you're an incomplete human, and not just about money, but like if you get knocked down in any field that you do, right? Like anything that you're really pumped about, and somehow you misjudged it or mistimed something, and you get knocked down really hard, that is great for you.
Yeah, it's like life. And again, back to a Conor McGregor analogy, when he got choked out by Nate, his cardio just killed him at the end, and he just had nothing left.
Yeah.
And the next fight, he came back with a lot stronger and a better game plan and less aggressive.
It forces you to see what you really have. Like, it's the challenge. Like, you might have a big loss or a big defeat and then just give up, and then it's just a slippery slope because you're just feeling bad and you feel crappy about the whole thing. But for me, I took it as a challenge, and it re-energized me. I felt like this thing, like my blood was boiling when people were saying like I lost money short selling penny stocks. They said you can't short sell penny stocks. Brokers that don't have shares to short, they just say no, short selling penny stocks is illegal. And I'm like, no, it's not illegal. You can do it. Your broker is lying to you. So it made my blood boil. So I had a mission. It wasn't just about the money. I wanted to get good information out there. Okay. And I wanted to differentiate, how did I make so much money trading liquid stocks versus losing a lot of money on an illiquid position? So when you asked about liquidity, it was kind of funny because that was like my biggest lesson that I could share with the world. Now, none of my students ever get involved in an illiquid position because they know my story, because I talk about it nonstop.
Right.